Diane, there's something really important I need to tell you. Oh, that's good. No, it's not good. Why? Because I shrank the kids. Now let me ask you something. Do you remember the moment when a quiet, picture-perfect suburban backyard suddenly became one of the most dangerous places in late 80s cinema? Back in 1989, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids took a simple what-if idea, an absent-minded inventor accidentally shrinking his own children, and turned it into a full-blown survival adventure. The film was directed by Joe Johnston and starred Rick Moranis, Marcia Strassman, Matt Frewer, and 4 kids who somehow managed to stay alive while facing giant ants, scorpions, lawn sprinklers, and breakfast cereal that might as well have been boulders. The movie blended science fiction, comedy, and real danger in a way family films rarely dared to do at the time. On the surface, it looked like harmless chaos. But underneath, it was one of the most ambitious practical effects projects of its era. The production was packed with strange creative decisions, close calls, studio interference, and risky ideas that honestly had no business working, and yet somehow, they absolutely did. If you enjoyed deep dives into the movies you grew up with, now's the time to hit that subscribe button and leave a like so you don't miss what's coming next. Because we're about to fire up the shrink ray, dodge a scorpion, and count down 15 weird facts about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Number 15. The movie was originally called Teeny Weenies. Before it became one of Disney's smartest family hits, the working title was Teeny Weenies. And yes, that was real. Disney executives immediately saw the issue. Teeny Weenies didn't sound like a summer blockbuster. It sounded more like a preschool cartoon or a bargain bin snack brand. Older kids would have groaned, parents wouldn't have taken it seriously, and the groundbreaking effects would have been buried under a title that undersold everything. So Disney changed the name, and with it, the entire identity of the movie. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids wasn't just an improvement. It was the movie. In 5 words, it explained the premise, the mistake, and the stakes. Even better, it sounded like a nervous dad awkwardly confessing to his wife, grounding wild science fiction in a relatable family moment. Suddenly, this wasn't a gimmick. It was an adventure with heart. And because the title promised something specific, the movie had to deliver. That meant building a backyard that truly felt massive and filling it with dangers that made survival feel earned. Nick, I've got 6 hours to get home, get big, and get to the mall. One title change turned a strange concept into a cultural phenomenon and launched a franchise. Sometimes the difference between being forgotten and unforgettable really does come down to the name. Number 14. The title won an award for bad grammar. Believe it or not, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids earned an award it definitely didn't ask for. In 1989, the film reportedly received a dunce cap award from a grammar watchdog group. The complaint? The verb tense. Technically, the past tense of shrink should be shrank, not shrunk. Since Wayne Selinsky is confessing to something that already happened, the title should have been Honey, I Shrank the Kids. Using shrunk is grammatically like saying, Honey, I drunk the milk. Disney didn't care, and honestly, that was the right call. Shrunk sounds better, feels more natural, and sticks in your head. And once the movie became a massive hit, the grammatical error turned into part of the brand. Every sequel kept it exactly the same. The funny part? Inside the movie, Wayne Selinsky speaks like a proper scientist. If we can proportionally reduce the amount of empty space in any given object, we can thereby shrink the object. The grammar mistake lives only in the title, a panicked dad blurting out his disaster. And let's be honest, when your kids are ant-sized and the backyard has become a death trap, verb conjugation probably isn't your top priority. Number 13. Diane Selinsky's hair color changes mid-movie. If you've ever noticed Diane's hair switching colors, you're not imagining it, and it wasn't a makeup error. It was executive interference. Marcia Strassman began filming with her natural darker hair. About 2 weeks into production, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was running Disney at the time, decided she needed to be blonde. When the crew pointed out that large portions had already been filmed, Katzenberg reportedly shrugged and said no one would notice. People noticed. Because the movie wasn't shot in order, Diane's hair jumps between dark and blonde depending on the scene. Early indoor shots show her darker. Later outdoor scenes and the finale show her fully blonde. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. By the time Honey, I Blew Up the Kid came along, the blonde was locked in permanently, turning it into Diane Selinsky's official look. So next time you rewatch the movie, pay attention. Her hair basically works like a scene-by-scene mood ring. Number 12. The neighborhood wasn't California. It was a painted backlot. The Solinsky and Thompson homes looked like classic American suburbia. But none of it was real, and none of it was in the United States. The entire neighborhood was built from scratch on a backlot at Churubusco Studios in Mexico City. Why Mexico? Simple economics. Disney could afford larger crews, massive sets, and still spend far less than shooting in Los Angeles. To make the street look endless, the production used forced perspective. Houses farther away were smaller models. Trees in the distance were carefully placed props. Skies and sunsets were hand-painted on giant glass panels. Full-scale houses, miniatures, and painted backdrops were stitched together so seamlessly that audiences never realized they were seeing 3 different layers at once. It was a picture-perfect American suburb built in Mexico and held together with paint, perspective, and movie magic. Number 11. Rick Moranis wasn't the first choice. It's impossible to imagine anyone else as Wayne Selinsky, but Rick Moranis wasn't the original pick. The role was initially aimed at Chevy Chase, fresh off the National Lampoon's vacation films. But Chase was unavailable. Next came John Candy, who turned it down for one reason: he believed Moranis was better suited for it. Candy felt Moranis had the perfect distracted scientist energy and insisted Disney offer him the part. Other names were floated, including Martin Short, but once Moranis signed on, the script shifted. His warmth and sincerity turned Wayne into a believable, loving father rather than a purely bumbling character. That emotional grounding made the danger feel real and transformed the film from slapstick into something audiences truly cared about. Number 10. Disney built a franchise and watched it shrink. Released in June 1989, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids earned $222 million worldwide, becoming Disney's highest-grossing live-action film at the time. A sequel followed in 3 years, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, where a toddler grew to 112 feet tall and stomped through Las Vegas. The box office dropped to about half of the original. Critics felt the emotional stakes shrank even as the spectacle grew. Then came the theme parks. In 1994, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience opened at Epcot, followed by playground attractions and a 4D experience. By 1997, the franchise had slid straight to VHS with Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, and a TV series followed. From massive hit to quiet fade, the franchise proved that even the biggest ideas can eventually shrink back down. Number 9. Stuart Gordon finally got to direct, years later. Stuart Gordon, best known for Reanimator, helped create the film but never directed it. After years of watching the franchise grow, Disney finally invited him back in 1997 to direct a single episode of the TV series. After a decade, that was his closure. Number 8. Only one of the kid actors stayed in Hollywood. Of the 4 child stars, only Thomas Wilson Brown continued acting consistently. Amy O'Neill left Hollywood to join a circus performance troupe. Jared Rushton became a musician. Robert Oliveri left acting entirely in 1994 and never returned. 4 kids. 4 completely different paths. Number 7. The backyard was almost entirely practical effects. In 1989, CGI wasn't an option. Instead of shrinking the kids, the filmmakers built a 360 degrees oversized environment. Grass blades ranged from 12 to 40 feet tall. Auntie was a full animatronic puppet. Stop motion, motion control, and optical compositing did the rest. The kids weren't reacting to green screens. They were lost in a real foam jungle. Number 6. The animated opening was packed with future legends. The opening cartoon was directed by Bill Croyer and featured early work by Andrew Stanton and Eric Stefani. It blended hand-drawn animation with early computer assistance and quietly introduced future giants of animation and music. Number 5. Auntie the Ant became the emotional heart. Auntie wasn't scary. He was gentle, loyal, and brave. His death during the scorpion fight devastated audiences. Test screenings showed stronger reactions to Auntie's loss than any threat to the human characters. A puppet made of wires and foam became one of the most beloved non-human characters of the decade. Number 4. The theme music sparked a legal dispute. The opening score closely resembled Raymond Scott's 1937 piece Powerhouse. Disney quietly settled, and Scott was later credited. Tribute or imitation, the music stuck. Number 3. The Cheerio scene was brutal to film. Robert Oliveri dangled over a vat of thickened liquid while clinging to a foam ring the size of a tractor tire. His fear wasn't acting, it was real. Number 2. An early script killed a kid. Early drafts featured 5 kids, and 1 drowned in the sprinkler scene. Disney removed the death but kept the danger. Number 1. The movie came from a horror mindset. Created by horror filmmakers, the backyard was meant to feel hostile. Joe Johnston preserved that edge while adding warmth and wonder. And that's why Honey, I Shrunk the Kids still works. It wasn't just fun. Survival actually felt earned. Sometimes the smallest movies really do have the wildest stories.